How are you doing today, Josh?
I'm doing good. How are you, Shane?
Today's been a day so far, but I couldn't wish for a better group of people to spend the earlier part of my day today with what's all happening. So, hello, and welcome everyone who's here. I see a lot of great people. I see some epic people. Hi. Welcome. Oh gosh, let's not objectify Josh now.
Oh boy.
Oh my. Anyway, it's good to see everybody. Today we have quite a show for you. It has evolved so much in the time since we made our announcement that we were going live, and it's still going to be what we planned, but it's going to be, if anything crazy happens, we're just letting you know. It's only because it's live, and you know how these things happen, and really we've been juggling a lot of stuff today to make it happen, so wanted to give that disclaimer, but we really appreciate you. One thing we want to kick off right at the start, I know it was mentioned that we were going to have Zoe, our marketing manager, here. As you know, Zoe, you see her on the stream a lot. But she had technical difficulties, so she's not able to make it, but we were able to get Josh. So let's all thank Josh for being here. We really appreciate him helping out in the absence of Zoe with her poor computer. And yeah, we're going to roll with it, right, Josh? You excited?
I'm excited. I'm no Zoe, but I'll do my best.
I'm no Zoe either, so we're going to do our best. But we appreciate you all being here. We've got a few people here today and an exciting special guest. So yeah, I'm not going to ruin it right off the bat, though. I'm actually going to kick it off. Dan, the lovely Van Man, could you play for us a video that we'd love to share with the community to kick off today's live stream? There we go. Sweet. Shout out to all those awesome islands featured in our up trailer there, and everything that the community has contributed to such an interesting and very cool trend that we saw and continue to see happening. I know there's quite a few other ones going on out there, so congrats to all y'all who are popping off with your fun trending content, and those who are jumping on the trends to make different unique experiences with those. Really think that's cool, and we really appreciate it. So yeah, sweet. Josh, are you a big up guy? I know you're great at death runs. I mean, you're great at everything, but are you an up guy too? Do you play a lot of the up ones?
I've certainly tried. I've never been great at death runs or parkour. I don't think I've ever finished one of these maps, but I've gotten close.
I didn't mean to put you on the spot. I just assumed you were great at death runs because I've played them with you before, and you did better than me. Okay, maybe that was Alex I was thinking about. My goodness, the sweats can't do death runs. Dang, Stacy in there. Ray says one does not simply finish. For real though. Well, congrats to everyone who's great at those, because those are interesting.
Yeah.
All right, so we've got a lot to get through today, but Josh, I'm really excited because we get to talk again this week about our epics picks that we have. I want to give a disclaimer here that all of these should be showing in Epics Picks. We're going to go through the ones that are kicking off today. So congrats to those people. Super excited to see you all in there. And then we're going to go over the ones that are going to happen next week. Now, this is all bearing that nothing crazy happens. No moderation thing pops up. No update that then causes it not to happen. So hopefully, fingers crossed, all that stuff goes well for everyone's islands here and it gets out the door. But do know that these are approved for Epics Picks, so we're super excited to shout them out. So Dan, if you could share my screen for the lovely audience here, I'd love to kick it off. So we have the wonderful Jelly Pop for this week on starting today, I believe. Played this one. I've actually played all of them, so I want you all know that I made an effort here to play all the Epics Picks to make sure I knew what I was talking about this week amongst all the craziness. And Jelly Pop's definitely a lot of fun. If y'all have seen Chick Pop, the Jelly Pop is a little bit different and super fun and in the water. And congrats to Blaze Dragon on Jelly Pop. Then we've got Rainbow Rush. I don't know if you've checked this one out, Josh. I know we've played racing games before. Is it?
Yeah, this one I have beat several times. I got pretty competitive with my score against some other coworkers here.
Sweet. Okay, I thought I recognized that we had all played this together too. Yeah, this is a Rainbow Rush. It's by Ponzip. So congrats, Ponzip, on a racing game. You're racing through the Rainbow Galaxy. Super fun. And win your own constellation. We love that. We love a good, carrot at the end, right? Then we've got Mansion of Mayhem Spectral Showdown by Dodo for Life. It's a gunfight, and this is a beautiful, beautiful island. Definitely check this one out if you haven't, if you're looking for just some inspiration on, the overall aesthetic design of a map as well. And Josh, have you played this one? You love gun games. Have you played this one yet?
I don't think I've played this one, but I'm a huge fan of Dodo. I love all of his maps. He's a very artistic creator, so I want to check this one out.
Oh, you got to then, because they really went all out for this one. It looks fantastic, and I'm sure it would be fun to play when playing with other people. I was just like poking around because I was the only one in there, like looking it all over and just in awe of how beautiful it was. So congrats, Dodo. Very cool. Then we've got Freeze Tag by Lemurian1224. This one looks so fun, so cute. You basically have to play tag with each other. There's hunters and there's people being tagged. And of course there's penguins. So who doesn't want to...
I've played this one. This one's very cool and slightly terrifying.
You got the seal of approval from Josh. Congrats, Lemurian. We appreciate your contribution. And yeah, congrats on Epic Picks. Then we've got, I've met Neighbor. We love Neighbor. Neighbor's Ninja Rumble Sprint. I believe they've been updating this one a lot. And super, super fun, super unique. I know we've seen different variations too. We've seen like the panda one from other people, I think. I don't think that was Neighbor. And then there was the baby one as well. I played all of them. I'm kind of like... a sprint connoisseur or whatever this would be. I wouldn't consider it death run, Josh, because I think we can actually finish these, but
yeah parkour.
Yeah, parkour. They're super
fun though. They're very fun.
Yeah, definitely cool. Then we've got Ant Farm by Uppercut Games, where there's a tight tactical vertical space that you have to capture points with different the two different teams, and it's super, super well done. Really interesting level design. Really took it upon themselves to try something new, building up in a tight space, which is super neat. So congrats, Uppercut Games, on your Epic Picks featuring. And then we have Downtown Rumble. It's a gun game by Sebasar. Very, very well done environment and setup for a gun game. Really excited to see how this one goes and curious to hear how you all feel. Oh, is my audio not great, Graham? Let me see. I will lower it a little. I played around a little bit with my mic the other day because I noticed it changes in between all my live streams. So I appreciate you calling it out if anything's too crazy. Okay, and then with that, we've got the Epics picks for next week. We've got Don't Touch Red by Kan Kikuchi, and it's basically a death run that is just not touching red. And I was able to get pretty far in this, Josh, but
yes, that's cool.
This was a little easier for us folks who are the best at death runs, but definitely a very cool idea. Excited to see how people take it. Would they say something in chat, Josh? Oh my goodness.
Your audio seems to sound good now.
Well,
welcome,
that's
Curious.
That's working.
That's okay that you're late. You just missed a little bit of the intros.
Yeah, you missed the chaos of today's live stream, but we're gonna make it through. It's gonna be fun. Oh,
I'm Zoe today. So.
Yeah, Zoe wasn't able to make it. Thank you so much, Cynic. Okay, cool. And then we've got Salvamira's Summer Island Duo Skywars Zero build. So if you're looking for a bit of that summer feeling, we're getting into fall now, but you're like, man, I miss it. Jump into this island. It's a duo shooter with 50 rounds, upgrades, events, and more. So definitely a good way to maybe not get the actual vitamin D that we need, but I feel like we're sort of getting it as someone who misses the sun already. So congrats. And then we've got Mastiff's Bed Wars Island Domination duo. I'm not the best at Bed Wars, I'll be honest, but I respect it. And Josh is really good at Bed Wars, so whenever we're testing them out, it's definitely a lot of fun to play. So congrats, Mastiff, on this.
Yeah, congratulations, Mastiff. Great Bed Wars builder. He's been building them for a very long time. He knows what he's doing.
Yes, awesome. Great shout out. Thanks so much, Josh. Yeah, congrats, Mastiff. Oh, and then a personal favorite. We've got Fortnite Gun Game by the Squatting Dog. I've definitely seen this around for a while. Definitely played this quite a few times. And you know what? There was a UGC platform years ago that had the ability to create levels in it, and my most favorite one also involved the toilet. So I think that says something more about me than anything. But congrats, Squatty Dog. If y'all haven't checked this one out, it's deeply immersive, really silly, super fun, and there's sounds. There's sounds, so just enjoy that. Then we have Neezy 6. I think I pronounced that right. I think the G silent. Battleground 25 versus 25. So we got an immersive, realistic battle. Huge battle on a big map. Really cool, really well done. Definitely check this one out if you haven't. I know we've been seeing things about major, large deathmatch kind of tutorials. People are looking for our templates, gameplay templates and things like that. This is probably a great example if you're looking to do some research on I'm thinking about doing one. Congrats, Neezy6, on your Epics Picks featuring. And then we have Dynamite Dan's Loot Wars. Let's go, Dynamite Dan. Definitely seen you around. So the Ruin Island is under attack from Imagined Orders, so you get to join the resistance and defend your bases in a giant game of search and destroy with respawns and legendary loot. So definitely check this one out if you haven't yet. This is going to be going live next week again for Epics Picks. So congrats, Dan. Oh, and then we've got Duos with Dads, Mall Mania Prop Hunt. So I know Duos with Dads has had this out for a while. There's a really cool section where there's art from his daughter in there that he's incorporated. So he's made it very personal and very cool. And we really, really are excited about this one. There's also tons of low poly assets in here. You've seen this one, right, Josh? I know you like the low
I've
poly.
played this one. very
they
cool
got a
looking.
lot of cool stuff. Yeah, they've got a duck section. I don't know if you saw that, where there's just little ducks being sold, but they all have costumes and they're low poly.
Oh my God.
So definitely a lot of cool things to snag and become in this prop hunt. So congrats, Duos with Dads. And then we have RBTH is Summer Abi, which is basically a death run. This one I did not get far. I'm not gonna lie, but it's not because of you, RBTH. It's because of the death run. But it is really cool, really cute, really fun, cozy summer death run. So congrats to you on your Epics Picks. And that's it for our Epics Picks announced this week. But we do have some up and coming creators I would love to shout out who were newly featured. If anyone's left out, please feel free and correct me. Things are a little wonky now that we have the new Discord system, but we've got Josh Does, not to be confused with this Josh, but Josh Does and not Josh Do. I love it. Josh Does is great. We've got Wishbone, we've got Lemurian, Ponzip, we have Notif in here, but I think just because Notif submitted under himself instead of neighbor this time, so that's probably why Notif snuck in here. And then we have Can Kikuchi, we have Charlie O Click, Sanjay, Gwyneth Click, and Matchroom. So congrats all of you for new featuring within Epics Picks for the first time. And yeah, so small party for all those featured. We appreciate you. All right. So with that, Josh and I are going to go into the news. And we're going to start off with we had the 26.10 update. We also had the 26.20 update that came out. So definitely check out those new update blogs that are out there with the patch notes and what's going on. We had quite a few things pop out as of lately. So make sure you're following us on the Discord and the Twitter to keep up to date with all the new news. If you have any feedback on any of these things that are going out, make sure you're going to the EDC to share that feedback. We all appreciate you tagging us on Twitter, and you know I do. But if you want to get it directly in front of the devs and not, pass through someone else, the best way to do that is always going to be the EDC. So definitely check it out and share it there. But we've got quite a few things that came out with that. We have the zipline device that I'm curious to see how that's all going with everyone. We got a Prop-O-Matic manager update. We've got, of course, Accolades, which we'll be talking about in a bit. And then one really big one, which we were really excited to touch on, is the creator roadmap. So thank you to all for your feedback on that. We've been hearing for quite some time that you wanted more transparency, you wanted more ideas of what's to come so that you can then build your experiences based on what's, upcoming, or hold off on certain things when you're waiting for it. So we're hoping the roadmap helps. As a disclaimer, with all things development, things get pushed a lot, hence our little disclaimer today at the start of the live stream. Things change, and that's for so many different reasons. You touch one thing, it moves another, or even, hey, this is a better time for this, or hey, this moved faster than we expected, or hey, this one's taking longer than expected. So we really, really appreciate all of our production team out there and our program managers that are helping make everything happen. But things are very to shift on here, so just keep an eye out. But I know everyone's working really, really hard to get those awesome updates out to you. You can also check out a little bit more information about that on our blog, which is all on your creator portal. So don't forget to check that out. There's a couple of creator portal updates that we had. So, we're looking for uploads for square tiles for the future. So make sure you're uploading square tiles for square thumbnails for your creations on the board. Make sure if there's ones that you want that built in, that you're uploading that. Super important. And then we have the new publishing flow as well, which, Josh, we were talking about. It's more of like a visual update, something that just feels a bit better and looks a bit smoother, right?
Yeah, it's a little more straightforward for anyone not familiar with the process, and it's a lot cleaner. It's split into a more linear page view, and so you fill out things as you go, and it's great for people new to the platform, and it's a nice change for existing creators as well.
Thanks so much. Yeah. And so if anyone has any feedback on that, again, always feel free to share that with us in our EDC platform, so we can definitely look into it and make sure if there's any issues or anything that could be better. We're always looking to iterate, so we appreciate it. Let's see. Oh, and then another announcement, of course, we have the community momentum row that's been popping off. We also have a new row that isn't loading for me on here, but shows, catered to you islands that they think you would like based on your, what you've been playing and what you've been looking at. And those are, I know we've seen a lot of hype for those on social. If you have any feedback about that, always feel comfortable sharing that. But I know there was a lot of love going out about, oh, this is cool, like more opportunities for more discoverability, and that's the name of the game. That's what we're trying to do. So definitely make sure to share your feedback. Before I move on to Mega Jam, also as an update, if you have any feedback on Discover, we also do have a channel in Discord where you can share it directly, and the team is always looking to make sure, like, okay, let's see how it's going or how people are feeling and getting a gauge on that. So we appreciate it. Hey, squatting, welcome. Sorry, I've been looking at chat so much, y'all. We've got so much going on. Hi, squatting. Congrats on Epic's picks. And anyone in here who's in Epic's picks, we appreciate you. Super cool. All right. And then we as you all know, we had the Mega Jam. It closed the other day, and we're going through submissions right now. So I just want to say special thank you to all of you who submitted islands for this. I know we saw a lot go out, right, Josh?
Yeah. I keep seeing clips of everything, and it's just so cool. I can't wait to look at everything officially, and very excited.
Sweet. Yeah, there's so many, so definitely gonna have to roll up our sleeves and test some of those out at some point while they're going through the checks. But really, really excited. Congrats to all who submitted. For those of you in here, so sorry about Nightbot. So we finally got Nightbot working to make Stacy's life easier. And I think Nightbot has some moderation things built in that are already turned on automatically without my consent. So apologies if it starts smacking people.
Nightbot's rising up.
Personal. Yeah. Oh, not the bots. No, not the bots. But here we are. Sorry about that, Flack. Hopefully yeah, it definitely does. Maybe Oracle can help us. She's awesome. We appreciate you. All right. Now let's see. Okay. So I'm gonna stop talking because I've had so much to go through, especially without Zoe here to give all her marketing updates. So, Josh, let's talk a little bit about Unreal Fest. I know your team's doing a lot of work there, and we're really excited about it.
Yeah, so as most of you probably know, Unreal Fest is coming up fast. The dates are October 3rd to October 5th. Tickets are sold out now, but we are going to have live streams for some of the talks. And so if you go to the UE streaming channels, YouTube, Twitch, you should find some of the talks there, including my teams. So make sure you keep an eye out for those if you're not going. And if you are, we look forward to seeing you there. It's going to be a great time. Very exciting.
Yeah, I'm excited to meet you all who are going to be there. It's been a while. The last time I was in person, it was right when I started. So I was just a young little thing who didn't know anything about Fortnite Creative and UEFN. So I appreciated you all for being so kind to me. And I'm really excited to see you all now that we've been here for a bit. And yeah, shake your hand, get to know you a bit better. If anyone wants to meet and chat, feel free and grab me. That's what I'm there for. Excited to learn more about y'all and what you're looking for and how we can help and how things have been going. So super helpful for us. And yeah, so with that, if you aren't able to make it, like Josh said, check out the live streams. They're all gonna most of them will be there. There's definitely, like, it depends on whether or not they're approved to go out by the author, but we're gonna do our best to have as many as possible out there for y'all to do. All right, I just want to give some love to the Ask Epic Anything audio sessions we had on September 13th, a week ago, but the team did an amazing job. We had a lot of people there to answer some great questions about audio. So as we dive deeper into audio going forward when it comes to UEFN, make sure and check this out because there's lots of great information on here. As you can see, over 100 posts. So thanks so much for the great work on this, Flack. And thanks for all who participated. And yeah, make sure to check it out if you haven't yet. And check out our other Ask Epic Anythings. Of course, you'll see the announcements go out. And if there's any topics you think would be great, always feel free and let us know. Reach out to Flack or myself and let us know if there's a great need for a certain topic. We'd love to do it. I want to give a special shout out to the newest island template. We have the lava cave. I almost said cake. The lava cave template that demonstrates how to use lighting, post-processing, and VFX to make islands look stunning. So that's super exciting. I know we've seen some love for lava in the past, so hopefully this is helpful and y'all enjoy it. And I wanted to give a special shout out to TIE Fighter because we're going to be talking about Accolades, and TIE Fighter made a really cool cheat sheet here for Accolade devices. So feel free and check this out on Twitter. Our devs did a double check just to make sure like everything's in there in case there's anything we could do to help, and it was all A-okay awesome. So thanks so much, Ty, for that. Feel free and check this out if you haven't already. Great work. And we'll be talking a bit more about Accolades in a second. And with that being said, check out the blog. We've got a lot of great information there about Accolades. I know some of you are new to Creative and UEFN rather. So, Accolades have been around a bit in Creative, of course, but if it's something that's new to you, definitely check out the documentation we have on our site, our blog here, and there's a lot of great resources out there from our community, which leads me to actually talking about one of our wonderful community members who was kind enough to dedicate some time to be here today and talk more about Accolades. And that is the wonderful Immature. We've had him before on for a fireside chat where we casually talked about his experience in the industry and things that he's seen and done, and it was super, super helpful. But we're really excited to have him on here today to talk a bit about not only Accolades, but marketing your island. So even though we're down to Zoe today, it's going to be Immature, Josh, and myself chatting a bit about marketing, and you all, of course. So feel free and pipe in. We can have a conversation. And so yeah, we're going to, I guess, pull in Immature if Immature is good to go. Hey,
get on in here.
Hey, how's it going, everyone? Thank you.
We're so happy to have you. Welcome, welcome.
Thanks for having me.
So you're so welcome. I must say, the reason that I mean, I think about you all the time, but there was a moment when I saw your video on Twitter and I went, that video is so well done, all about Accolades, so straightforward, so helpful. And we were talking about doing a live stream on Accolades. It was already on the books. And I went, you know what would be cool? Trying to see if a creator would come onto a live stream. Let's see if Immature's down.
Always. Thank you. Yeah, that video, again, we're going to talk about marketing, but this is one time to actually, sometimes the Accolade device is actually it's a semi like easier device to connect to. It's pretty easy to create Accolades, I should say. I mean, depending on your skill level, but generally the tutorial is very, very easy. And it goes to show that even if you think, because I wasn't going to make that video, I'm like, oh, no one's going to watch this. This is, you just have to connect two things together, whatever. But honestly, that's one of my most watched videos ever. But it just goes to show you, it doesn't matter. Doesn't matter if there's all different skill levels. So if even if you don't think people would be interested in that mechanic or that tutorial, post it. Yep.
Sweet. Yeah, that's a great call. Boom. No, but you're right. I mean, we don't, I know we get nervous, especially when it comes to social media. Speaking as someone who, before I was doing it for a living, was like a creative doing things, and we get scared about, oh man, if I create content for this, is anyone going to care, or will anyone notice, or will the effort be worth it? And really the best thing you can do is just keep doing it, and putting it out and seeing where it takes you. You'll get better at it as you go, and you'll learn what the audience is looking for. And I'm sure Immature can speak to that. I'm sure it's a lot of what you've done over your career.
No, totally. So with the Accolade device, I mean, I don't know. What do we want to talk about it actually? Like, where do we want to start in with this, Shane?
So we can definitely let's talk about the marketing aspects of like creating content and how putting yourself out there, like you were talking about. And then we can definitely dive into Accolades, because I want to make sure we've got another special guest here to talk about the Accolades as well.
Gotcha.
And I want to make sure they can be in. But yeah, let's talk a bit. Actually, let's back up even a little bit more for those who are new here, because I know we do have a lot of new members of the community. Let's give a little background on you, Immature, and kind of your experience. I know there's some that even relates to, we've got Josh here as part of your journey, and it'd be cool for the audience to hear more about it.
Okay, for sure. We'll definitely talk about that story, Josh. Yeah, so my name's Matthew Zanazor, ImmatureGamer. I have been in the Fortnite creative space pretty much since the start. I've been a solo developer. I've created my own studio, and recently my studio got acquired by GameFam, which is one of the largest Roblox studios. So yeah, I've kind of seen a lot in this space. I also kind of started with social media as well, like we're going to be talking about today. I started in YouTube. I actually started with Call of Duty content, but Fortnite came out and I started making content on tips and tutorials. And then this guy named Josh, who I actually didn't know who he was at the time, made a map. So I think this, and Josh, maybe you can help me with this, this is one of like the first maps to be featured?
Yeah, and it was like the first round of community featured, right? Because we had like the creator, like celebrity Twitch streamer people who did a little go at it, but yeah, first creator feature.
So you, and I think this video is online, so you can still see it, but it's really cool, and it's cool to show like the history of Fortnite Creative in the back and see what the hub used to look like. It's wild.
Yeah.
But Josh is like Escape the Dream. Is that what it was called?
Yeah, Escape the Dream. That's the one.
Dude, so we're talking about over 4 years ago here. So yeah. So I was like, oh, there's new creative content. Let me go check it out. So I hopped in. I made a video on it, and it like did really well for my channel. I was like, oh, people like Fortnite Creative. Interesting. And so that really started my channel and my switch to Fortnite Creative. And then I really started focusing on the Fortnite Creative content and making maps, and then promoting those maps through my YouTube channel and tutorials in interesting ways, which we can talk about. Which led to my growth, and honestly, having your own community and creating your own social media platform is just a cheat code when it comes to game development, because you can instantly get player feedback, you can instantly promote your map and get players inside of it, and you also just makes like updates a little easier. There's lots of reasons, but yeah, I'm happy to talk more on anything in this space.
Thanks so much. We appreciate it, Matthew. That's super helpful. Yeah, so let's kick it off. We've got a lot to cover today, as I know we've had people in here ask about accolades. We'll be going over accolades in a bit. We're gonna have the awesome Ray Benefield on to chat more about that as well. For this in particular, so talking about marketing, there's essentially what feels like 3 stages of marketing when it comes to being a creator. I feel like, actually, I'm probably even leaving out the base stage, which is building, of course, a brand awareness for yourself, right? We're building brand awareness for you as a creator, not necessarily even your island. So there's an aspect of that too, right? That starts from the base of, hey, I'm a creator, I'm going to start making things. That's something, I guess, that we should all be thinking of when we're, like you were saying, it's a cheat hack, it's a cheat code to be able to have that audience starting to build, having that awareness of who you are, that brand and that brand identity. That definitely will play part in building out your community as well. Although having an awesome island will help that grow immensely and you be able to pop off and expand beyond that. But that's one thing that I think there's the brand identity, and then we've got the 3 different aspects of like marketing your island in general and marketing your gameplay that you've been working hard on and your projects that you've been putting out. So in terms of brand identity, Immature, do you have any advice on, because you've run quite a few channels and you've been working on your brand identity for quite some time, and as a creator in the space, you have a very solid brand identity and how you speak, the way you present yourself to the world when you're engaging on these platforms, even down to, of course, your profile image and the ways that you market your content. What kind of advice do you have for people starting out as creators, or even creators who've been going for a while but haven't really leaned in on brand awareness and brand identity? What advice do you have around building brand identity?
Yeah, good question. So definitely don't do anything immature or with your finger in your nose. I think that actually it's probably a good thing now, but I think that actually slowed my progress in this journey. But now people know me that I'm not immature, or I mean I am immature, but you know what I'm saying. I'm actually more professional, and I like to keep in that light. But a brand identity is very smart, because no one can copy or replicate you. So it is important to start understanding who you are. And when you're first starting out, if you're first starting out, don't get too hung up on this. You can change, you can adapt. And I think it's more as you start evolving and starting in this process, you're going to understand that. But it just really depends. Look, if you're trying to build a professional look, maybe just use your name, use a great photo of yourself. That always works. Or you can use something in the gaming realm to just a funny name or your gamer tag. That we've seen all sorts of different people use that for their brand identity. But just don't be too hard on yourself, I think, when you're first starting. And I'm trying to think what else on that topic on brand identity. It's really,
it's your brand voice too, and you have such a good brand voice that one I know can be hard to build. But it's definitely over time, right, for that one, because you might start out feeling like you're some way or thinking that this is what the audience wants, and then you find out as you go. Like, for example, with you post all of our updates as well. I noticed so wonderfully. Thank you for doing that on your social channels, and you break it up visually and you make it look amazing, and you're like, hey, people love this, because I'm doing like Epic's putting out the information, I'm putting it out in a way that's like completely comprehensive on Twitter in a very eye-catching way, and they love it. So I'm assuming it's like that kind of stuff as you go on. You just adapt to what the community finds really helpful too.
Yeah, totally. So when it comes to what I post, I really anything Fortnite creative, whether any news, anything I know that I can help out anyone in the community that's knowledge, I'm gonna post it. Also, when you're making content and posting it, one, you have to make it really easily to read. It needs to be really quickly understood. We all have short attention spans. You also need to add a graphic or a video along with that, helping. So all these things really do help and increase engagement. If you're also showing that you're, try if you can. I know, even your phone can produce high quality content, believe it or not. But do try to keep high quality content when you're making these posts, because people kind of can see, will kind of gravitate that. If they don't see if they see kind of a blurry photo, they might just keep going. But just something to note, just try to keep your quality high. If you are recording your voice, make sure it sounds good, it's clear. All these things can help increase engagement when posting. But when it comes to what I post and what you guys, anyone else should be posting, just look for what there's a need for. So is there some content that you haven't seen, or are you very good at verse? Can you make snippets? People are always looking for that. Do you have great ideas on how to help people promote their maps? Or there's just a lot of different facets that a lot of Fortnite creators are looking for on help. And even like I said earlier, tutorials, they don't have to be these crazy, insane. Actually, I'm going to tell you, if you look at my channel, I have very rudimentary tutorials and I have some very advanced tutorials. The advanced tutorials never do well. They really don't. So don't think you have to be this crazy, insane coder or this big time creator to make content and get it going. I've talked to a lot of creators. If you guys follow me, or I've always preached this, is try, I love you, Epic, but don't rely on anyone. Rely on yourself and become, the reason you become a promoter from your brand and yourself. It's really powerful. Anyway, I kind of lost my train of thought where I was going with that.
No, you're
yeah.
good.
Yeah.
That's all so very helpful.
Yeah.
And then when we're talking about brand identity too, the big thing that we were talking about again was like the brand voice and how Immature, you're talking about all the different ways that you've been able to identify your brand voice and speak out. And I'm seeing a lot in chat, and I've seen a lot about how you are so genuine and so kind, and that really comes across in everything that you do as a creator and as a person on social media. So that would be definitely part of, if you were looking at like the things that describe you and your brand voice, I'm sure that those are some of the key adjectives that you would use, because that's definitely what we're seeing. Unless it's totally the opposite, then we're like, wow. But you're killing it.
I think you actually, that's where I was going to end off. Exactly that. So when we were talking about, be yourself, no one can mimic you, but I truly love Fortnite creative. I really do. I really care about this community, and I've been here from the start. A lot of us have been here from the start, and we've seen the ups and downs of this space. And it's also my family. Like, I live, eat, and breathe Fortnite creative. So I know it's sometimes hard to break in, get your map seen, and it's hard to get your social media going. But I know, like, I can do it, so I know you can do it. I really do. I do. So, but with your brand, I know a lot of people, like, this is true. This is true. This is really me, and you're always going to get me. But I think you have to provide ways for people to be able to see that. So I have streams, I have tutorials. I'm always in the community commenting. Like anytime someone comments on my any post I have, I at least interact with it with a heart or things like that. But I also am commenting, thank you, even if I don't agree with somebody, even if it's like feedback on my map saying this is broke or this should be that way. If it's really negative, I may not even respond, or I'll just say, hey, thank you for taking the time to report it. I'll look into it. But all of that is just showing everyone else that, oh, well, he is paying attention. So if I'm going to go out of the way and spend my time to interact with his social media, he's going to he'll interact back. So it's kind of like a snowball effect, and it does take time. I did this for years before I got any recognition. So, and I'm not saying that that's your journey. Maybe you pop off in a month, but it can take time, and it's a lot of trying. It's a lot of trying new things, trying different things. and seeing what works and then going in on that.
I think you've done a great job developing your brand, even specifically like when it comes to publishing maps and making maps and advertising those maps. So like tutorials, personality aside, like you've made a really good brand for yourself over the years, starting with the most advanced 1v1s. And the way you marketed those and those series of maps, it was really easy to tell when I'd run into a YouTube video or when I'd run into a Twitter post or the map that this was an immature map, right? The way you titled it, the way the map looked, and especially with UEFN, it's really cool how much easier it's gotten and how much more often I'm seeing like people really create their own brand identity in the way they create their maps. And for instance, right now, like it's really easy to know what an alliance map is. Like when you're scrolling Discover, right? The way they market it with their little logo in the corner and the way they do their thumbnails, it's like just you can recognize right away. It's like, oh, that's an alliance map. I think I'll like that one. Or Gearsy's The Pit, right? His Pit Heroes pops off right away because he's built that recognition with that brand and he's able to take advantage of it and innovate on it. And I think you did a great job through the years doing that.
I'm trying to get better at receiving compliments. Thanks, Josh. Thank you. Another one too is Go Goated, right? He has that really cool logo, and now he can put that in his thumbnail because look, his map is, as you see, we get popular maps. A lot of people start wanting to make the similar type of maps, and so that brand identity that we're all talking about, Josh is talking about, is very important. Because again, no one can copy or mimic you.
Yeah. I want to give one other shout out to, I forget, I was trying to use my thing, but it's frozen right now. But who is it, guys, the Pickle, oh gosh, what's his name? Is it just Pickle? No, it's something else, but he's so wonderful. They're so wonderful. And they make like a free roaming, just kind of chill map that's constantly being worked on and changed up for the seasons and things. But what I love about his branding is he puts pickles like all throughout his maps. It's like full-size pickles.
Right. Or all of our duck themed creators.
So
yes,
that's so fun. Well, and you're right, ducks. That used to be a thing with there's a lot of duck people in our community, but they would have their little rubber duck. Mine was that's what Gurkis. Oh yeah, Gurkis. I know exactly who you're talking. Yes, of course. Gurkis.
I love Gurkis. Should have remembered. How could I forget?
He's a good creator, great creator. Yeah. No, I used to put like a silly toot sound in mine, but it was with the old music blocks and a sequencer. It didn't sound anything like it. It was bad. This was early immature. This was raw immature.
On brand.
I respect it. On brand.
Yeah,
completely respect that. That's awesome. So I know we've got a lot to talk about, and this is my bad because I took us off on a totally different tangent. We were going to talk a little bit about designing your island with marketing in mind. So like holistically, not specifically, going into detail about it, but when you're building an island, you're thinking about from the get-go, what's the best way to market this? What is the best way so for example, going back a little, we've all been there where we've seen a trailer for a movie and then we go to see the movie and it's nothing like we expected, right? And maybe it was just the way the trailer was cut. It seemed like it was a comedy, but it was a drama, or it seems like it was some crazy action film, but it was actually really slow. And then what happens is there's a lot of disappointment from the audience where they go, oh, this is what I wanted, like 3 out of 10, 1 out of 10. And that's because expectations don't meet what the reality is when they get in. So when thinking about like how you're going to market an island, what cool things would be good to show off, what the feeling is of the gameplay of it, what you're expecting, the vision you have for this island, even if it does change throughout development, that you're being true to that when you're thinking about like what are the best ways to market it. And I'd love to just touch a little bit on anything you've had an experience there, Immature or Josh.
Totally. Josh, you want to go or I'll go first? It's up to you.
You take the floor.
All right. So, when it comes Yeah, first off, when you're making your map, you have to be unique and make memorable concepts. Start with an original idea or a really good spin on an already popular game mode. That works as well, but it really needs to be separate. So for instance, Infinite Zone Wars. This map is about 1.5 years old, but I really went all in on promotion. And when I built this map, I've actually had this idea in this map for a long time. We just got some certain features that allowed me to make it. But basically, this map at the time was very innovative. It had an infinite storm. You're always spawning inside the storm. You would spawn inside of it with prop movers. This is around when prop movers came out, just so anyone in creative will know this. I also created a large build reset mechanic where you could reset all your builds, which was kind of new and hasn't really been done before. So these are some unique ideas in my map I'm already thinking of. I also made like NBA Jam style heating up score streaks for this map. This is a great way to keep people engaged. If you got 3 eliminations, you're on fire, and I would use the visual effect and the player would come on, be on fire. So I was adding these things, knowing in my brain while I was creating it, I was going to be making separate market material for it to promote, and it worked. I even made the first randomly generated terrain in that map using prop movers, and they came out with new mountain pieces that you could actually build on. So I just enabled with an RNG device each one. And so again, that was a totally separate post with hundreds of thousands of views. So that map alone, I had all these different ideas, and I made a really compelling trailer showing it off first, and then I sprinkled in that week or subsequent weeks really cool new features as well. And it really like started a fire in that map and pushed a lot of players to it. But the map had to be good too. So you can make great content, but your map has to match, and it has to, like Shane said earlier, you don't want to lie. You don't want to fib. Like people, if you're chucking it up, they're going to expect one thing. And so you want to deliver when they get inside your map. So that was like a very quick answer. I know that, but hopefully.
Oh, that was great. Thank you for the visuals, because describing those are very, very helpful. And I have to say, I don't know if I'm alone here. Apparently not, because it sounds like that was popping off. But I really deeply appreciate the detail that is put into islands, like you were saying, like the fire happening or things like that, that really make it feel like this is the kind of gameplay we're going for. This is the style. This is the, emotion I want my players to get out of this. Those kinds of details, I think, are just greatly appreciated by the community and will result in long-term retention too, because if they feel those wow moments, that dopamine hit when things happen, like especially the fire, like you're explaining, that's the kind of stuff that really helps. What about you, Josh? Have you seen anything in the stuff that you've worked on where it's been really compelling and something that was exciting to market?
Yeah, things were a little different in my time. Anyone who's been here for the four years that Creative's been around knows the landscape's changed quite a lot since I started here at Epic 2 years ago, and so now we have Discover, and now we have custom thumbnails and trailers. And it's marketing now is totally different than what I did. But what I will say is, based on today's landscape, like Shane was saying, I think it's really important to market your game honestly and make sure players from the get-go can see what they're getting into. Now, it's equally as important to make sure what they're getting into is entertaining and they stick around and play it and all that. But when it comes to marketing it, using your thumbnail, using the little trailer that plays in Discover, you want to show what your experience is and communicate that in the best way. And so when it comes to thumbnails, having a clear scene on display that's from your game that kind of gives the player an idea. So if it's a search and destroy, having that bomb that a player is diffusing, right? So people look at that as they're scrolling through Discovery and go, this is a search and destroy. If it's a tycoon, having those progression elements displayed, so people look at that and go, oh, this looks like something I can spend 30 minutes in and progress in. I want to do this, right? So super important for grabbing players' attentions, and making sure they know what they're getting into as soon as they click on your game. And then obviously the video that plays once they go in there is another great way to further draw players in and make sure they're actually clicking play once they click on your map. So showing the gameplay through that also equally as important.
I also want to call out being somebody who is newer to Fortnite Creative and UEFN, and someone who's also an avid gamer, and also knowing that since everything has changed and things have really popped off for UEFN and Creative both, we're seeing a huge influx in new players, new interest on social media, right? There's a lot of developers with eyes on the things that you all are creating who are interested in getting into the space, who are interested in trying it out and becoming creators themselves, or playing to see what you all have created. And there is something to be said about, like you were saying, Josh, and this is not in any way to contradict what you're saying, but just kind of question what ways we can help with this. But it's, say they do see something like the bomb, like you were talking about for Search and Destroy. If they're not used to Fortnite Creative or UEFN, would that be something they would automatically understand? And is there something to be said for maybe knowing that there's another audience looking that might not be as in deep with the Fortnite community or the creative community, maybe even having a trailer that's a little more explicit to what's happening or what that gameplay could be? Because speaking for myself, when I've been going through y'all's trailers and seeing the things you post on Twitter, unless it's like explicitly said, sometimes I'm not entirely sure what that gameplay entails. And I wonder if maybe when we're thinking about marketing, we're thinking about, okay, there's a trailer that's there to like pull in the people that, are really always in Fortnite, really excited about this type of content. And then is there also a way to like reach more of the audience that's curious about what's going on in UEFN, and maybe even being a little bit more prescriptive on, look what we did here, or this is the type of game it is and what you can expect? Almost like, when we check a game out on stores and there's a trailer that's super exciting and cinematic almost, and then there's usually other videos that kind of break down, here's what this game is and here's what you do. And there's even like some voiceover or something. So just something to consider as I've been poking around, and a lot of my developer friends that have been in the industry for years have been coming to me going, this stuff looks cool, but I don't really understand necessarily what these games are or what's happening. It could be something happening there like that. So it's just interesting to think about. Sorry, I went on a tangent.
Yeah, no, totally. And that's why, you should be taking advantage of your title and description, and making sure players can read what's going on. And like you said, with the thumbnails, make sure that it's like globally recognizable, that anyone coming in could have a grasp of what they might be getting into. And with the video, I believe the video is intended to be gameplay, right? So you have your showed up trailer to put on Twitter and social and whatever, but in that video, it's really nice to just have gameplay going down so the player can look and know what they're about to get into.
Yeah. Or having two different trailers too it's sometimes a good idea. So if you were to look at my game trailers, I actually think, Shane, they're kind of more on what you're saying. They're like, I will hit you right at the start with something that's, that try to captivate your audience, something, what makes your map tick? What's the coolest, craziest thing about your map? Hit them with it real fast. And then instead of just showing 20, 30-second pan around your map, that doesn't tell anybody anything. Do quick cuts, but showing, this is how to start. This is what you do. This is how you play. These are the cool things. This is the map code. Done. Don't just hit them with the TikTok fast 20 second, 30 seconds video. On the other side of that, Denny and their team created the survival games, and that was one of the best trailers I've ever seen in a Fortnite creative map, and it went viral. So, that's another good example to check out as well. I hats off to that. That was an incredible piece of work on their trailer.
Awesome. Yeah. All down for celebrating the love on some trailers that we've definitely seen. If there's any you've seen, Chad, if there's any you've seen that you're proud of, that you've made that you're proud of, that you have seen that are cool, definitely share them for us to see as well, and let us know, because we'd love to check them out. I am a huge fan of trailers. I'm a bit biased because that was like my dream job that I got to do for a little bit in the industry. Video editing, when it comes to, capturing somebody capturing their emotions, whether it's excitement, sadness, laughing. I'm shout out to the Ohio map that we saw. I can't remember. Wasn't it called? It wasn't a prop hunt Ohio, was it, Josh? It was just like, was it a gun game Ohio where it had like the alien flying around, and it was one of the bigger
I think it was a
studios.
gun game.
That was so funny. It was so well done.
Yeah.
Shout out to whoever made that, but my brain is failing me today with all the chaos. Now, with all that in mind, okay, so you've made your island. We've been touching on this a bit. You're trying to get word out about the island. We're talking about trailers and things like that. Immature, is there like any top advice you would have for getting word out when you have an island? And I'm gonna actually, let's say we lean towards people who might not have as much reach, right? People who are newer, because I think the tactics for someone who's desperately trying to get out there within this world of social media will actually pertain to all sizes of creators too, and be just as helpful. So I'm curious to hear if you have any thoughts on that initial process of getting the attention on that island for the first time.
Yeah, totally. And I feel the pain of starting new or trying to get your map, and it even sometimes it's hard for me to get maps seen, new maps seen, right? It's not even with a decent following. But so when you're first starting out, I think it's really, I know there's just a lot of stigma and it's really hard to get started because for me at least, I was really hard on myself. I didn't like my voice. I didn't think what I ever would make would be good enough. I didn't think people would like it. I just really cared about what others thought. And that was really, I'm so glad I kind of broke out of that mindset because it really is you. It is really you. And the more you do this process, the easier it gets, but it's the hardest. Each video is your first video is going to be hard to do. But you just kind of get into the space, lean into it, enjoy the process. Shane talks about something about storytelling early on. We're in game development. We love telling stories, things like that. That's basically what you're going to be doing for your trailers and getting seen. But when you first publish your game, obviously you have great thumb, great title, proper tags, right? Josh covered that. It was beautiful. So when you're making your game, you're starting to think about the great things in your game, what you can use to promote. So keep those ideas, and then you just want to, we kind of already talked about, highlight what makes that map unique and fun, fast-paced, quick cuts, things like that, and just try it out. What you need to do is also start being a member in our community. Start talking to everyone, meet people. As you're starting to grow, maybe look if you can collaborate with other similar size content creators. All these things will help you grow. It really is hard to get started at first. Kind of, it's a little difficult, but there's a lot of people in our community now, and there's a lot of people looking for content, looking for the next cool map, looking for help in maps. So if you can provide any of those, that'll start helping you grow your community. And then also, now that you have a community, when you post, you'll also get some following there. Also, Epic Picks is another great program for it's amazing. So send in your maps to those. Make sure your maps good though. Make sure you're putting the work in. Make sure you're putting the time. Make sure when you're sending it in, you have a nice little video showing it off. Get not just Epic, get anyone who's watching this excited and wanting to get in that map. I don't actually. I don't know if that covers that enough, Shane. It's a lengthy topic. There's a lot of different strategies. But I think the most part is just don't be too hard on yourself, and just try. And there's a lot of free software out there. There's a lot of free things you can to make content. I mean, AI is even crazy these days. So you don't even have to use your face, like MetaHuman. You can use it's wild. You don't have to use your voice anymore. I know I didn't like to hear my voice when I first started out. So there's lots of things you can try to use, but just don't be too hard on yourself. Just get in there, try. I think you're gonna find it fun. At least I did. I enjoy the content process. I love it a lot. I love that process too.
Cool, sweet. No, that was Absolutely. Tons of great information. I appreciate you so much for sharing all that. Want to take a quick second to say Josh has to jump for something important that's come up. So everyone say goodbye to Josh. We appreciate you for being here, Josh. Thank you so
Hi,
much
Josh.
for your time.
Wait, good news. I
Um,
actually no longer have to jump.
Oh, okay. Sounds good.
I was
What a day
debating
we're
if I
having
should
on
just
this
like
live stream.
leave. Should I just leave and go with it, or should I stick around? But I like it here, so
Hey,
Oh,
Josh.
okay.
Hey.
We appreciate you.
I'm good
Okay,
until
sorry about that.
we're actually
Immature.
done talking about marketing.
Look, okay, perfect. Okay, we do have some time then. So we're talking a lot about that. I want to touch on just a couple of the things you said about launching your island and getting that word out, and then we can move on. I think those are all some amazing points. I'm seeing a lot in chat about welcome back, Josh. I'm seeing a lot in chat. Oh my god, I love
Works
you
here
all.
This is
too.
so funny, man. Love it.
You guys make my life great. I saw a lot in chat about working with content creators. I know there's some people that are talking about paying content creators, collaborating with content creators. Curious to hear from you, Immature, how much you've seen of that is like actually doable. Is it, you know, from your experience, you can share more than we can on this, and I'm curious, like, is it super expensive? I know in my experience working with content creators in the past in various jobs I've had, you know, depending on the size, it can get kind of out there. So I'm curious to hear your experience on that, and if it's a super viable option, if it's something people should really work into all their plans, or if you're able to, like, what kind of steps you should take to do something like that.
Yeah, I'm definitely well versed in this topic. I've talked with
Great.
some of the biggest and worked with some of the biggest influencers
Yeah.
in this space, and also just done it for myself. So when it comes to influencers and I'm gonna just be honest about that, because so when it comes to streamers, we actually can see now our CCUs, and we can also see when a streamer is promoting a creative map. So you can actually go see how much traffic is getting driven to your game or to those games.
Yeah.
So that can actually give you an idea of how, you know, how much amplification is really happening. In my experience, I actually haven't seen too much amplification from the streamer standpoint. But when it comes to working with content creators on like TikTok and YouTube Shorts, actually, I've seen better results. And I honestly think it's because people are so accustomed to sharing and saving, and they can save that code really fast. So, and again, you don't have to go look for the top creator in this space. Actually, this is what I would do: is do your research up front. Look for other people promoting Fortnite creative maps, the kind of mid-level, even some smaller creators in the TikTok and the YouTube realm. And just don't look at subscribers or followers. That doesn't really matter. What you're looking for is when they post content about maps, how much of their audience is engaging. That's what you need to care about. So look for the kind of mid-tier, lower level, not level, but like just starting out content creators, and maybe they're getting big plays off their maps, and reach out to them. They're probably pretty affordable. Or here's another idea: maybe you do like a 2 weeks or a month rev split. And that will, you know, that person in the content creators, it actually puts it on him to make sure that video is really good, because it's going to make, you know, he wants a little better share of that revenue if that video does better, right? So there's other ways. Start thinking outside the box.
That's a great call.
Yeah.
And I want to shout out too, from being on the opposite side of that, where I've worked at companies with content creators, that I think this is in going in line with what you're saying very closely. And that is, look for their community. I'm trying to think of the word right now. But of course, y'all know my brain's melting. Passion, but like how their community responds to things that they get excited about. So it doesn't matter the size of the creator. In fact, the creators that I've worked with most in the past, the ones that yielded the most visibility, the most return on investment, the relationship that was the best, was always the ones who their community loved them, and they were close, tight knit. They could be tiny, they could be mid-size. It didn't really matter. But most of the time, I promise on this, in my experience in my career, not speaking on behalf of Epic, working with the small creators with the close-knit, tight, passionate communities yielded the most and built the best relationships. So because those people go, oh, I trust this person, they're like family to me, they're like a friend to me, they talk to me, they're close to me. Whereas when you get higher up on the totem pole, you can't really have that relationship anymore when you have such a large audience. I mean, you see it with companies, right? I think we're doing a pretty good job these days, but like the bigger you get, the harder it is to help everyone and talk to everyone and develop those relationships. So like you were saying, Immature, it doesn't matter on the size of the creator. Do some research into them. Maybe it's someone you love that you follow and you see how engaged they are and you see how their audience acts, and then you can tap into that and reach out to them. But I know it can be hard, like you were talking about, Immature, with what you can see. That is the hardest thing to see, is how their audience, like what percentage of their audience supports the things that they show off. So if they say, hey, there's this game, check it out, we can't see those numbers, so that's kind of hard. But you can usually gauge it by how active their community is in chat, in how they're responding to those things, right? Like maybe not like crazy chat messages, but like, oh, I love this product, you showed it to me the other day and it was great, oh, I checked it out too. And you can kind of see it that way. But that's just me spitballing.
No, and you're right too. And I do think streaming, especially in streaming, if a streamer's opening the lobby and playing your map with players, you're definitely going to get a lot higher engagement and a lot more people playing. And again, it's basically the other part of this too is it's just brand awareness. That's the idea of putting my map on a billboard, right? It's just people. And that's why if you're watching a commercial, you're going to sometimes see that commercial like 4 times in a row. And you're like, or like in that session, you're like, why? It's because the first or second time we see something, it generally doesn't, we're whatever. Our brain's like, okay, cool. But the third and fourth time, it starts sticking in our brain. And so the next time you're on Fortnite and you're like, oh, that map did look kind of fun, or I don't know what to play. Boom. They might be in their brain. They might play it. So there is just different, advertising ways depending on, use them all or try them all, at least if you can, like see what works, testing. I mean, a lot of this is just testing, honestly. It's just trying out and seeing what works.
Yeah, no, absolutely. Absolutely. And that's the thing. I think that's the biggest takeaway, of course, y'all. And, like you were saying, Immature, be yourself, step out, try new things, keep trying. And then the big other thing, which I'm sure you all see when you look at your islands, but should be on social media, is look at social and look at the numbers and look at what changes what and what trends in what way to see what is working and what doesn't. I know this can be hard too, and this is a whole nother topic, but I want to flag it too. Definitely I've heard and seen things where it's like, hey, if I say polarizing things, I see a jump in those numbers, or things like really take off. And I find that so interesting with social media, and also so difficult from both sides, because as a person on social, I'm tired of negativity, because we see it, we're constantly inundated with it. But I also see the positive upswing in what you can do there. Now, you, Immature, you're actually quite positive all the time from what I see, and very constructive. So I'm curious to actually hear brief thoughts on that you have on, like, it can be a thing to get sucked into pretty easily. And there's definitely upsides and downsides to both. But I think there's a great balance in which you portray really well, but still are great. You're very passionate about the community. You are able to affect the community in a very, strong way. And, what happens and things like that, just like all of us here, but your voice carries because of your reach too, of course. So any initial thoughts you have on kind of that stance? Because I think you have that very well in place.
Thank you so much. Yeah, I don't think I started with that in mind. I think I was probably somewhat, not controversial, but a little more outspoken early on. And I actually saw, I saw it didn't help me. I learned that early on, fortunately. You will see, though, if you go against the grain, or you do make posts that are negative or about this or that, you will, especially if you're starting out, you're going to see that it's going to probably get you more engagement. And that's kind of a trick, really. It's really a trick, because now you're stuck, because you're going to have to keep that same kind of content to keep that engagement. the best, and I didn't really, Nick A30 kind of started this way back when, and I didn't even think about it, but Nick A30 is one of the best examples. He has such a positive outlook, and he's always positive in everything he does, and that follows with your community. And you're right. I see everything. I read everything. I know what's going on in the community. I know what people are saying about this or that. But I have a choice to either jump in on that, or I have a choice to maybe spin a positive outlook, or help the community in a way of like, oh, we're not being seen or heard. Well, maybe I'll start a stream and I can help people get their map shown. You know what I mean? Like I think like that. What would help me? What would help me? And in the end, it like in this journey, in your Fortnite creative journey. And look, when I started this, there was no money to even be made. I had no idea I would ever be here now. I did not. But start off, you never know if who's watching, who's looking at you. You never know if you want to join a team later on. You never know if you want to run a team later on. You never know if you want to be on this show talking with Epic, right? So everything you're posting, everything you're saying, someone is seeing, someone is reading, and think about that. And look, it might not mean anything right now, but in a year it may, or in 2 years. So it doesn't, it's quick. It's fun for quick, or not fun, but it will get you some nice engagement really quick. But in the long process, it's not worth it.
Thanks for sharing that. That's super helpful. Yeah, I was just curious because I definitely see things like that, and like I'm part of many different communities on social over the years, and I do see that kind of trend of like the negative kind of stuff popping off, and then there's people that make it their whole brand and things like that. And of course, brand identity is the whole thing. You're bought in, like you said. If that's you, then it's you either lean in or you go the other direction. Yeah. But it's really nice to hear. Yeah. No, but you're absolutely right. It can definitely hinder a lot of things without you even knowing. Like there might be people who really want to work with, me, and then I say something that's totally in the other direction of how they feel, and they go, oh, our beliefs are different, our creed is different. Like you just don't know. It's kind of crazy. So thank you for the insight. Super helpful. I want to make sure and leave time for accolades. We don't have so much to go over because things had changed so much with accolades, but want to end this on sustaining that community ecosystem. Afterwards, we've touched on it a bit. You were saying that is the cheat code to that success, is having that community built around you. We've talked about brand identity and building it around that. We've talked about islands, marketing them. You get traction from that. Now you have this community. What do you do now to keep up with it? And I see a lot of great people in chat that also have thoughts on this. I've also seen y'all do it really well. Gurkus was one we were talking about earlier, and how, your whole community comes around you to see how you're updating your islands and, what's more to come. And I think you do a great job, and I see others in here as well. But once you have that, what is the golden nuggets of information that you have around that Immature in sustaining that kind of a community? And obviously I could speak to it as a community manager, but I'm really, really curious to hear what a creator feels works for them when building that kind of an audience.
Yeah. So basically you want to talk on about like how to sustain your community. So you build your community now, keeping it going. Yes.
Yeah.
So
marketing to that community. Yeah.
Okay. No, that is hard. I have a few tips on this. It is forever changing, and actually, I'm sure Mustard Plays could speak on this. And Richie too. People. We had a primarily Fortnite creative audience, all Fortnite creative, and then UEFN came in. Not everyone got to come over to UEFN, or just weren't interested. They still like Fortnite creative. And then we got the brand new people coming over from UEFN in our community. So I'm having to really pivot my, my content around that. I'm trying to make content for all of them now. So honestly, I think just knowing your audience, being aware of your audience, seeing what's coming, and try to prepare for that. And I know I'm being very vague, like not trying to be vague here. I'm trying to think of how to say this better, but it is hard. It's very hard. But I will say something that this is here's a tip from the pros. I'll tell you, and I actually don't do this on Twitter, but it's something I've done on YouTube, and you can try this out. Of course, I gotta say this: make sure you're reading the terms of service and guidelines on your social media these pages. I know YouTube allows for this, but basically, what you can do is you can create. It's not really a fake account, but it is an account that that I'm going to be my audience. So basically, I'm going to make a YouTube channel, and I'm just going to interact with Fortnite creative content. Right? I'm just going to watch them. I might like it, and I'm not going to search anything. I'm going to stay in that loop, and I'm basically what I'm doing here is I'm creating something where the algorithm is going to start sending me content that all of our audience likes, because I'm a part of that. So it actually will start fueling and helping you stay up to date, helping you know what content people are interested in the community. Because there's sometimes things I haven't even thought. Skibbity toilets, I would have never thought about that, right? So there's things like that you can find. So that's one way, but also just being active in the community, following everyone in the community. Stop the beef. Stop worrying. Oh, this guy posted this. Stop all that. You got to leave the ego at the door. Stay up in the community, see what's going on, and it will really help you stay relevant and evolve with the community, and also know what content is needed. Hopefully that was okay. Yeah.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you so much for that helpful information. I'm sure, Josh, have you seen some cool stuff too that in terms of islands that keep going? And definitely curious to hear your thoughts since you've seen it since the beginning as well.
Yeah. I think there's a really cool way that people have been, creating these communities through really just their islands and maybe like a new Twitter account. But we see it all the time, right? Someone has an island that takes off, and I might have something here. I'm gonna create a new Twitter account because I don't want it to overrun my main account. And I want to start updating this game like it's a live service game, right? And if you look at Fortnite, that's what we do. We update it every 2 weeks, every week. There's something new. There's new content for people to come in and play, and we have patch notes and everyone, So I really like seeing creators kind of mimic that system in order to grow their community. So every week, every 2 weeks, a creator add new weapons, they add a new level. If you look at Wirt's 100 level or 100 story game, he's like constantly adding new levels for people to go in and try, and he's marketing it really well, right? Shane, we were talking about this earlier. Like he has these little teasers, and it's like, guess what this new level theme is going to be, and all that. And that's a really cool way to like drive people to go check out your new update. So I think running your game as a live service, if it's sticky enough, if you have content to add, it's a great way to build a community around it.
Thank you so much. That's so helpful, Josh. I appreciate you. And I know it seems like, we're pretty much at the end of this convo, because I know we still have to talk a bit about Accolades. So I'll let you go, Josh, so you can. I know you're working hard at Unreal Fest, and we all appreciate you. Awesome. And I feel good. Any last minute comments, Immature and Josh, on marketing that we feel we need to send home, or we feel good about everything we shared?
I'm good. Thanks for having me. Thanks, YouTube and Twitch chat. Love you all, and I'll see you later.
We appreciate you. And Immature's like, I could talk about this all day. Which I know you could. Bye, Josh.
Yeah.
All right. Oh, and we have Ray. Surprise, Ray. Sorry. Hi. Hopefully you were prepared for this. Dan the Van Man he's fast.
You guys can hear me, right?
Yes. All right, Ray. Everyone, we have Ray on, the wonderful Ray Benefield. I'm sure you've seen Ray way longer than you've seen me. Ray's been around the community for a very long time, creator themselves, also now working at Epic and helping us on the inside, which has been so helpful, and we're so thankful to have you. Ray, I know this is the first time we've had you on stream here. Do you mind giving, for those of us who are new here, just a little background story on you and what your journey has been like?
Yeah, absolutely. So, so I'm a tools designer now at Epic, but like Immature, I started in the community like day one of creative. I was prepared for it. I've been a game designer for 16 years now, since Halo 3, which is a long, long time ago. And yeah, now that I have all the skill, I was asked to come help out and be like, what do creators want, and what's going to help them move forward. And so yeah, it's been a crazy journey, especially like showing up at State of Unreal and sharing UEFN, like literally being the first person to share it to the world, is such a huge. It was an experience.
Sweet. Well, we're so happy to have you. Do you have thoughts, Immature?
No, I was there live. It was insane. I think I DM'd him. I'm like, dude, that's the craziest thing I've ever, like, this guy we're all creating like years ago, and now he's announcing UEFN from our community. Like, I wrote him personally. That was incredible.
Yeah, it's a crazy time. And now like all the things that like we're releasing after launch, and like seeing all the things that people are creating finally, knowing that this was upcoming, it's really exciting to be a part of the creative community right now.
Yay! Well, I'm happy to hear that, and we're so happy to have you. So for this segment, we were going to talk a bit about accolades. I know, Ray, you had some brief thoughts about marketing from your experience that you wanted to share. Is there anything you want to share from the previous conversation? Any gold nuggets of information that you find really helpful?
Like Immature, I could talk about it all day. So I don't want to get too much into it, because like one of the things that I do want to address,
we need a series.
Like, yep.
Yeah.
One of the things I want to address though is like how Accolades affects, like how you can use Accolades to take advantage of some of the marketing that you did. Because a lot of people see Accolades as just like, oh, you get Battle Pass XP. But one of the things that makes creative unique in the ecosystem of being able to create content is that Battle Pass experience is tied to Fortnite. Fortnite is already a successful game. It is a wonderful platform, and you have the opportunity as a creator to tap into that as a player incentive and use that. So if you can get marketing to get people to your island, you can use things like Accolades as a player incentive to get them to come back. And it makes your marketing valuable. And so we're not going to talk about just Accolades as a device, but why Accolades is kind of the key thing that I want to touch on.
Nice. Okay, yeah. Let's talk about it. So we can pretty much talk about anything having to do with Accolades. So I'd be curious to hear, between the two of you, your thoughts on that, like driving retention and the cool things that you've seen that you can do there. I know, Immature, you were talking briefly about the ways you've incorporated things to build that excitement and those dopamine hits for the people that are playing, going, whoa, this is cool, or that feels good. And like you were mentioning, Ray, with the Accolades, what thoughts do you all have on those? We can do a little deep dive here.
I'm happy to talk. Go ahead. All right, go ahead, Ray. Go ahead. I'll talk. I got lots.
All right, so the first thing I do want to address is, like, when people think of Accolades, they hear Accolades, it's got this negative connotation, because like the first thought is like, oh, I'm just granting people XP, and I have this opportunity to just attract players with XP. And the thing about that is it's a short rush and not a long-term gain. Like, if you are granting a bunch of XP to somebody, they're going to use you only for XP. And you don't want that. You want them to play your experience. And so what you can do is use that XP as a thing to fuel your game loops and be like, oh, this is a fun thing that I know players are going to enjoy doing. I am going to incentivize them by giving them this XP boost by doing that. And it reinforces your gameplay and gives some real value to that, because you're in an ecosystem where they could be playing anything at all and getting that same XP. What makes your game different than everybody else's? What makes that XP more valuable? And you can bring attention to some of the coolest aspects of your map and really take advantage of that. And yeah, it's rewarding that fun aspect and re-encouraging them to keep doing that fun stuff.
I have a question for you both. I don't know if y'all have seen this in Creative and UEFN. I haven't noticed it, but you know when we're playing games, like IRL, and we see that are outside of the Fortnite realm, and we get a funny like achievement, and we get some XP maybe even in game for doing something that you weren't even expecting. So like you happen to be at this place at this time into this thing, and then there's some funny achievement that pops up. Do we see that in Creative and UEFN often? Is that something that people have incorporated? Because that's always a really fun moment to get that boost of XP with something tongue-in-cheek.
It can definitely be that way. Like, Accolades is going to be a thing. People see it enough that it's hard to make it like pop out as this unique thing. So you have to use both Accolades as well as in-world representations of the achievement, things that track your achievements that people have, like a progress card or an achievement board that they use. And then you can draw attention to those aspects. And the more rare your accolade awarding is, the more valuable it becomes. If everything's interesting, nothing's interesting.
Yeah.
Right? So scarcity is a very valuable concept to using the accolade device. And because of how calibration works, that scarcity also plays into the calibration, because the more you do something, there's diminishing returns is how it's baked into the system.
Right. What's a great example of that scarcity being in play that feels good? Do either of you know one like right off the top of your head? No worries if not.
I
no,
got,
so it's just go ahead. You go first, and then I'll probably spark something for me. But
so one of the things for that scarcity is like, we can start simple with like an MMO quest. Like you have this quest, you do a thing, and then you achieve the quest, you get an accolade for it. But those quests are things that keep you along on a small breadcrumb trail. But you have long-term goals as well. Like I am looking to level up. And then you start you're trying to create a journey of small bits and pieces, and then little bits of excitement, and then small bits and pieces and little bits of excitement. You're building a graph of climax, essentially, similar to like movies and stuff, right?
Totally. And how I was going to put it was earlier is basically you need to have XP in your map that's somewhat at a regular cadence to keep players interested there, and then you also have your big payoff moments as well in your map, so you get that big XP rushes, which is basically exactly what Ray is just saying. So something I always tell when anyone about this topic is you need to make sure you're using all 30 of your accolade devices. We all have 30 devices. You should be using them, and they all should be obtainable in one play session. I know early on I didn't do that. I thought I didn't understand the right ways to use this. But make sure you're using all of them. And also, if we have in our creator portal, we actually have an XP tab that tells us how many times they're being pressed. So you should be going through that and looking if some of your accolade devices aren't getting used, repurpose them. So that's just a little bit, or a little thing I have on that. Yeah.
It's a great mechanical aspect for accolades. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Shade.
Yeah.
No, you're good. Sorry, Ray. We have a little delay, so that's why it's so hard to have a few people. But yeah, go ahead. What were you saying?
Yeah, that's a good point for the mechanical aspects. There's some things about accolades that can make it frustrating. Like calibration is a thing that has to happen, so we know like how frequently are you granting that XP. Are you trying to exploit the system? And those things kind of have to exist to avoid people trying to take advantage of it and make cheapened experiences. But if you understand the value of accolades from a player incentive level, you don't really want to use it in that way, because you don't want your game to just be whenever you need XP. You want your game to be whenever you want to have fun. And that is a problem that you want to solve all the time, whereas XP, eventually you don't need it anymore and you don't care for it anymore, but you want your game to be wanted all the time, not just when somebody needs XP, right? It's difficult to balance. There's always concerns about exploits and stuff, but we can't talk much about it because
Yes.
if people have information about it, then they can exploit it more, right? They can find new ways. But essentially, there are multiple layers of like, you can't players can't get XP past a certain point, or like, you know, when doing this task over and over again at different levels. Like, and we can't talk much about it, but it is a consideration and a myth that like I hope goes away because Accolades is such a powerful unique thing.
I don't know what you're talking
It's
about,
become
Ray.
a
We love
marketing ploy,
myth.
but sorry. All right.
It has become one. You're right. No, but like legitimately, the myths are. We hear a lot of myths. We want to debunk them. What is one other myth? Shadow banning myth. What's another myth? Let's just get them all out in the open. Yeah, there was it was shadow banning. I can't remember. There's two parts of shadow banning. That is not true. So if you hear anything about that, please know that it's not true. If as far as all these XP exploits, so like you're saying, Ray, stuff on the back end to help protect, and just like every place everywhere, there's only so much we can disclose so that we can protect people from bad actors and continue to fight for justice. So so thank you for bringing that up. That's a great point, Ray. Moving forward on, I do want to also let y'all know, if you're in chat, you can feel free and drop us any questions about Accolades. Also, if anyone's had any questions about marketing, I know we had a lot to talk about, so we didn't really go into that too much. But if anybody has any questions, we can pull them straight from chat as we go. I know there's a few people coming in to talk about issues. Yeah, there's been a couple questions that are like issues they're seeing, but definitely make sure that you're utilizing Epic developer community to share issues that you're seeing. Make sure you search for them, upvote them if you see them. We are going through some changes in terms of bugs and issues, which either has just been communicated out or will be soon. So it's kind of in flux. So if for any reason something got skipped or missed, or no one has responded to an issue, simply submit another issue again if it's been like a few weeks, and that should put it back in the system and get it fixed, because we've just been adding some cool things to make sure that submitting bugs feels good. You'll also see maybe some updates in there, status updates as we move forward, to help with that. And then also it'll be logged on the back end automatically. So additionally, everyone who's been sending me bugs and stuff like that online, make sure you go to EDC, right, Ray? Because that's where all of us are watching and there to help, and the developers are actively excited to make sure and help there where we can. But with all that aside, I forgot what I was saying.
I'm gonna answer some questions.
We were talking about accolades and questions. Did you find a question, Ray? Was there one?
Yeah, so there's a lot of question about like the calibration process, why it exists, and like the buckets of like very small, very large. The thing about calibration is it needs to exist because every player is different and every experience is different. There are so many different combinations. One player could get an achievement at one time while another player gets it at a different time, and completely different between experiences. And we don't want to hard lock you to like 1 XP, 100 XP, 1000 XP. We do that calculation for you so we can do that rough balance. We just want to know from you, how frequently should we expect it? And then because you can set any values you want, the calibration is partially there to help verify that and discover that for ourselves. And we're trying to weight XP granting to be balanced between not just your experience, but within the ecosystem as a whole. Like, the granting process should be similar no matter what experience you're playing, whether you're playing Battle Royale or anything in creative. You should be getting, your time should be equally valuable as a player. So that way you don't have to worry about making a choice based on this grants me the most XP. You make a choice based off of what you want to play. And that's ultimately the goal of that calibration.
That's a great call out. I also saw another question that I've been personally wondering. I've been playing, but I haven't noticed if this is happening, because I can't tell if it's something that was built into the islands I've been playing, Ray. So maybe you can help. But with the new accolades in place for UEFN, does that mean like the ones that don't have accolades in place, are they still giving Playtime XP like we had in place, or do they have to go in and set up accolades for it to work at all for players? I would assume it's
Yeah,
still going.
So yeah, it is absolutely still going. The goal is that no matter what, players will be getting XP playing your experience. Accolades gives you the benefit of tying that reward to an active event that's happening, whereas Playtime is you get it after the fact. So that is a difficult balance. It is valuable to invest in accolades, but just because people don't have accolades doesn't mean people aren't getting experience from it. Now there is the difficulty of like delayed reward. That's a difficult thing. So there's always constant discussions on how can we do things better. And there's always lots of things to weigh in that conversation. Sometimes it seems simple from the outside, but there's a lot of factors, especially since this is something that affects the platform as a whole.
That's a great point too, that it's affecting the whole ecosystem. Thank you for mentioning that, because I even forget about that in general. So hopefully that's helpful to someone here. I see we're seeing a couple other questions. We didn't answer the TIE Fighter one, right? Is this just an extension of that question, I think? While it's calibrating, could they give Playtime XP though, just so smaller islands aren't disadvantaged? It's happening.
So Playtime,
already.
Yeah, it should be happening. If it's not, it's likely bugged. But in the same way that we want to balance, like, whatever experience you're playing, you're still getting roughly the same amount of XP. We also want to do that with Playtime. Like, whether or not you're getting Playtime XP versus accolade-based XP, players should be getting roughly the same amount, because we don't want people to make that decision based off of just XP. We want them to make it based off of their experience.
Okay. Yeah, we should look into that, because it sounds like a couple of people are saying it isn't giving Playtime XP, which, like I said, I wasn't entirely sure, so I can definitely double check on that TIE Fighter and we'll look into that further. So thank you for raising that to us. Let's see. Are there any plans to allow updates to be pushed without XP calibration restarting, as long as Accolade devices haven't changed? Do you know anything about that, Ray? No worries if not. I
missed that question. Can you say that again?
Are there any plans to allow updates to be pushed without XP calibration restarting, as long as Accolade devices haven't changed?
There is a lot of discussions on ways to improve the system. Like, I don't want to speak too much to those ways to change the system, because it is a complex problem, sadly.
Oh, no worries. We appreciate you helping with that. If you do have any feedback or thoughts on Accolades, collaboration, what's going on, again, I know I sound like a broken record. Definitely share it at EDC. And then let's see if it'll work for me. Let's see if oh god, it's not, is it? What, Nightbot's gonna go no. Let me see. And I'll drop it in here. Is Nightbot gonna? Wow. Yeah, Nightbot hates me. Wow. Okay. Anyway, if Stacy or anyone happens to be there, if they could drop the link, that would be amazing, because I have too many tabs open. But if not, that's okay. if I can't supply one thing in this live stream that has been absolute chaos, then I'll be okay with that. I appreciate you all. But yes, EDC, Epic Developer Community. If you Google it, that'll pop it up. Let's see. Great point too. Immature, is there anything in particular, any thoughts you have on Accolades and what you've used it for in the past, and how it has really supported gameplay or really made the experience something exciting, something that you're proud of, or any that you've seen in the past that you went, wow, that's smart. I love that they did that.
Yeah, for sure. So XP is just another great way, especially once it's calibrated in your map, to inform about things as well. It's another HUD that pops up and can be informative of something you achieved. It's just a really great way to keep players engaged and active. But Accolade devices also, I do want to mention this. I kind of like, it can also be used as like an API hook as well, which basically means is like you can you don't have to actually just use it to grant XP. You can use it to get valuable data in your map. So, and I've seen other people do this, and it's really cool. Ooh. It's like, hey, you can put up 2 buttons attach 2 Accolade devices to it and have players say, you know, do you like this weapon, or do you want this in the map, or what do you like this change, yes or no? And then when you go onto your creator portal in your XP, it'll give you how many people press yes and no, and then you can implement those changes. So it does give you a little, you can use it for feedback. It also, I use it a lot for information about my map. So I will actually use a player counter in an area, and I'll see how many, and I'll attach it to that, and I'll actually see how many players are actually going to this area. So this tells me if I have a dead space, or if maybe I can repurpose this area. So you can use it just for other things, not just that. So just, you know, again, think it's a good way not just to give players XP, but also what I just said was like, I'm trying to find out if an area is very active. How many times have you joined into BR and you got XP for going to a new location? Boom.
That's what I was about to say too.
Yeah, it's a 2 for 1, right? It's a 2 for 1. So I'm getting them XP. They're happy. They got the new location, but I'm also getting data. So think of it. There's always also little tricks of the trade you can pick up. And last thing I want to say on this subject is the best way to get ideas for XP is to go play Battle Royale. They do it the best. Like I would go and play Battle Royale, and I would get XP for like the most random things. And like you were saying earlier, Shane, like some of them are funny, or some of them are you just kind of outside the box. And so do that. Just go play, and because I think what has happened here is early on, I think XP came out and we all just didn't really understand. We understood it, but I don't think we understood how to use it in our maps yet. And so we're just looking at what's popular maps and what they're doing. And a lot of people are just copying that because they're popular. That doesn't actually necessarily mean what they have is the best, or that's the best thing for your map. So test, iterate, change. I guess that's what I got to say about Accolade devices.
It is such a super valuable tool, but also as a product and tools designer, I know it's valuable, and I know there are better ways in the industry to be done. Yeah. And we all know as a design team, like we want more things like analytics. It's about how we do it and when we're going and prioritizing. But we know that like analytics as a whole is a valuable thing. And taking advantage of the Accolades device right now is a super great way to do it. And also like talking about alternatives ways to like consider using the Accolade device. There's also, if you didn't know, you can grant accolades not just on a per player basis, you can grant it on a per team basis. You can do community objectives, things like that. Don't just make it about an individual player. Have it be a bunch of people working together to achieve a particular thing. And that scarcity of that very large reward being tied to community goals can be a valuable aspect for your map as well.
100%. I want to piggyback on that. So if you go play a team deathmatch map, right? You might not get a lot of eliminations, maybe not really good at that. But if your teammate are doing some achievements and those other players are getting XP from that, they may stay in your experience longer because they are getting some type of reward, even though they might be not skilled enough yet to get it. So that is a great point, Ray.
I love player incentives as a whole. Like, and it ties into the like. I know we're going to talk about Unreal Fest in a moment, but like my talk is about like finding the fun, and rewarding fun things is a valuable thing.
Oh, well, Ray, way to drop it on us right now. This whole talk could have been about it. No, it's super cool. All this is such valuable information. Immature, I want to thank you so much for talking about that voting system, by the way. That is genius. Whoever was the first person to ever do that, you're a genius. I have never seen that in all the islands I've played. I have never seen that, but my goodness, I know things are a bit limited, like we're saying, right? I mean, we are a newer platform, even if it's been 5-6 years since all of this started, 7 years it's since we were doing all this stuff internally, but probably even longer. There's a lot we want to add, there's a lot we want to do, and the team's definitely working really, really hard to get us a lot of stuff out there to help better, like you were talking about analytics. I mean, even we were talking about search bar and discover, all kinds of things, right? The team's really working hard on all that, but there's a lot of great, there's a lot of stuff that's gonna, come for the future, and we appreciate all of your feedback and your ideas. It's all very, very helpful. But in the meantime, with the way things are, I mean, just like with any technology, it usually is the community that ends up getting so scrappy, whipping up stuff that's super, super helpful, that makes the experience even better. And then, I mean, I've seen this everywhere, where the community will do something first in some kind of scrappy way, and everyone goes, whoa, like, what a great idea. And then that's something that becomes something. So I would definitely, if I was a creator, be utilizing that voting system to help better, to get feedback from my community, especially if it's one that's living for such a long time. I think having that constant feedback on something you're wondering, I mean, it's kind of like the cool community pulse checks we do with y'all, right? Like, how are you feeling about this? How are you feeling about that? How do you feel about call outs right now? And we got some great information and things like that. So really, really appreciate you all. And I'm really curious to see more of that. That was really helpful information. Not that everything has been helpful, but that is one that is pure genius that I haven't heard of before. So thank you for that.
and before we get off the topic, I want to address one more myth. Like, one of the things that I think is valuable for creators to know is that Epic makes games too. We know the things that you want. We want it just as much as you do. Like, there are so many things that we wish the tool could do. It's all about like finding the right way to do it and make it easy for people to do. Like, we want it to. Like, we make games, if it's frustrating, we're probably just as frustrated.
It's true. We can only do so much at one time. So we're this giant ship that is working very slowly on removing that iceberg so we can keep moving forward and get everything running smoothly. So we really appreciate all of your feedback and thoughts on all that. I know, Sander, Nightbot is my unruly child. That we're both not on talking terms right now, but Nightbot just keeps poking me, like, sorry, Nightbot. But anyway, yeah, so thank you both so much. I know we could talk about both of these topics forever, but I want to be cognizant of y'all's time. We really appreciate everyone who's been here for our talks about marketing and accolades. If you do have any questions, I guess I want to make sure and plug it too. Immature, is there anything you want to touch on about what you've been working on, or any last thoughts that you have in general, or anywhere that people can reach you, that you would be comfortable with them reaching out?
Oh yeah. Look, Discord, I have a Creative Juice Discord that's literally for Fortnite creators. Like, I'm in there. I will communicate, but you can get help from every creator you probably know of is in that. Join it. Lots of helpful resources in there. And it's all about helping Fortnite and creators, even promoting yourself. You can do so inside of it. So check that out. I'm available on Twitter at ImmatureGamerX. I'm very active on there. You can reach me. My DMs are now starting to get unmanageable, so sorry about that. I may or may not respond, so I try, I really do. But yeah, those are great ways, and I will be at Unreal Fest in a week already. In 6 days, I'm going to be giving a talk on the power of Fortnite creative, building an engaging experience. Sorry, are we there? I apologize. Maybe I'll wait.
No, you're good. You're good. No, I wanted to make sure you talked about anything you wanted to before we did our sign off, which is also Unreal Fest. So perfect segue. Tell us about it.
Well, okay. In maps, let me tell you about what I'm working on with maps. Really, so I'm now working with Game Fam. So we make maps. So we do have a few new maps coming out that we can't really talk. Unfortunately, when you work with a team, then you can't start what you're supposed to be doing with your maps is giving teasers. Like, we can't do that. So unfortunately, I can't talk on that. But before we switch to that Unreal topic, I want to say one last thing, like to the community, Fortnite Creative, and I know we talked about social media earlier and how to promote, and I really think this is what changed my perception on social media here. This idea. And more people really need to think about social media as a group initiative. So that means interact and like other people's posts in this, because the more people we bring into Fortnite and Fortnite Creative, the more plays that are spread across our maps. So yes, that guy got a lot. That's a great map. He got a lot of interaction. It did popular. I know sometimes that we feel bad or that can bring us down. I've had those feelings, but really, that just brings more players into this space, and maybe they play your map next. So, you know, I wanted to make sure I put that point home today to the community. Start thinking about it a little differently. If you don't already, sorry, you know. Anyway.
No, thank you for that. Absolutely, to your point, Immature. I wanted to mention this earlier, but we'd been talking for so long about it that I didn't chance, but I'm gonna plug it anyway because you just said it. But that is, take that time to engage with the community. That's not me just saying it because I'm the community manager, but like truly block off 30 minutes a day, 15 minutes a day if that's all you have. Go across your social media channels, bring value to the community in ways like, if someone says something and you feel the same, hey, I feel that way, or you know, I'm looking for something, here's where it is, or does anyone know how to do this? Yes, I do. And just engage with the community at large. Look for the people. There's a lot of developers out there that have been in the industry for a long time as well, looking into this community, looking for advice and help and guidance. I've seen some of you all helping them along as well, but engaging with the community at large like that, even if it's just 15 minutes a day, will grow your reach, will grow your you know, awareness. People will go, oh, it's that person that, you know, helped me with this or brought up that. I really like them, you know, and it develops those good feelings towards you. Because you know, we're in an age where everything is remote. Of course, creators are definitely more remote than even the industry is, but the industry is now almost fully remote. So we're all having to do things like that to further connect with our industry and community. So great point, Immature, and everyone. Thank you. Keep doing what you're doing. I want to give also pass it off. So, we're talking about Unreal Fest, and I want to give some love to Ray. But for Unreal Fest, so Immature, if you want to give like just a brief on what's going on with Unreal Fest for you, and then also for Ray, would love to make sure y'all get to share that too, because we're excited to see your talks. And I'm assuming they'll both be streamed, but just let us know if not, so we can be there.
I'm not sure if mine is streamed or if it will be available after. It possibly might, but yeah. Okay, so I kind of already you know, kind of let the cat out of the bag. But yes, I will be talking about building experiences in actually Fortnite Creative. I'm one of the few, you know, Fortnite Creative talks. It does you know, obviously UEFN is integrated within Fortnite, so it does, you know, it does mean something for UEFN as well, but it's primarily Fortnite Creative based. I'll be talking about that, how to build an engaging experience, like step by step guide, things I've used to make some of the most popular maps in this space. And then I've talked about how to build a community. We get a lot more granular and the start of the process and what you can do and how to keep people engaged and interested. And I use all the things that I've done. You know, these are not things I just look. This is things I actually, you know, I practice what I preach. And then we will finish off on how to promote your island, a very small bit of it, but I am going to give some tricks on thinking outside. I'll give you guys a little teaser, but some things you can do to think outside the box to promote your experiences. Hopefully that was a good enough cliffhanger for you to come watch. Yeah.
Come watch. And Ray, what will you be up to at Unreal Fest? What you got in the bag?
Speaking of cliffhanger, my talk is about finding the fun. And part of that talk is breaking it down, the experiences that are fun right now in discover that people are enjoying as a player of Fortnite, and piggybacking off of that and finding new ways to inject new fun into the ecosystem and how to pop off with new fun, discover new fun, and make it more fun and like spread it. And just like there's a lot that I want to talk about, and there's a lot of dry runs happening this week practicing our talks, and it's going to be exciting.
Sweet. Well, if any of y'all are there, feel free to say hi, give us a wave, grab us, say hello. Yeah. We're excited to see you all. If anybody here in the audience is going to be there,
Please.
Oh, go ahead.
No, exactly. If you see me, please come talk to me. Like, come say hi, please. I want to meet all of you, please.
Are you going to be wearing your cool Fortnite hoodie? Your black hoodie again?
I will have something Fortnite related on. Like, there's only one. Ooh. Like, I don't get a lot of chance. I'm 37, all right? I can't wear Fortnite gear out in public. I don't have to finish that story. I think you'll...
Is it when I pass the 35 mark? Is that it?
Yeah. No, but for real, I literally have all my outfits. Who am I right now? But I have some amazing, epic Fortnite stuff I can't wait to wear. So yes, I will be.
Oh man, I love that. Cool, sweet. Well, we appreciate you all. And then finally want to give some love to Ray as well. Thank you, Ray, for being here. I know we all appreciate you so much. We appreciate your insight and your thoughts, and I know the community is so excited to have you today. So thank you for your time. Yeah, and with that, oh, I'm sorry, Jake. I hope you feel better. Flack. I have a Fortnite shirt on right now.
I know. I knew Flack was just like, what are you talking
Wow.
about? Me and
Yeah,
Flack will.
Flack's like, I
Yeah,
live
you
in
can't
this.
beat Flack in the gear. She's like,
Nah,
she will
nah.
flex on you immediately. You can't.
That's right. As she should. As she should.
Yes.
Well, thank you all
Yes.
so much for today. I guess, Dan, I'd love to ask for you to lead us out with one of the most classic songs of all time. One that is cherished by our community and especially by Immature. But with that, we appreciate you all and we'll talk to you soon. Have a wonderful day, community. Thanks for coming by. Thanks, Ray. Thanks, Immature. Let's go on down to
Anytime.
the
Thank
butter
you.
barn.
Oh, no.
He's like, please. He just ends the stream. Immature just goes black screen.
Yeah, I'm out.
Bye, everybody. Thank you.